Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakahakudash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video I'll be profiling an article from endoftheamericandream.com titled, "Now There is Talk in Washington that a nuclear first strike against Russia should be on the table," and it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's going to be Washington and the United States of America that's going to be wiped off the face of the earth by nuclear missiles from not only Russia, but Russia's allies like China, Iran, and North Korea, but also the allies of the United States of America that are going to turn against her during this upcoming World War III and allied themselves with Russia to altogether shoot 200 million nuclear missiles onto this place. This is Jeremiah chapter 50. I'm going to start at verse 41. "Behold, a people shall come from the north country, Russia," because what's north of the United States of America? Canada, that Arctic Ocean region, and then Russia. And I've been doing plenty of videos in the past showing that Russia's been building back up its military assets, nuclear capable, in that Arctic Ocean region. And a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. And those many kings are, again, not only Russia's allies, but the United States of America's allies that are going to turn against her and ally themselves with Russia during World War III. Verse 42, "They shall hold the bow and the lance." And the bow and the lance are symbolic for those nuclear missiles, because when the prophets saw these visions thousands of years ago, they didn't know what a modern-day nuclear missile was, so they described it the best way they could with what they knew during their times. Ancient weapons of war, like bows and arrows, lances, spears, javelins, flying swords, etc., etc. "They are cruel and will not shew mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon." And in the scriptures, the United States of America is known as the daughter of Babylon, Babylon the Great, Mystery Babylon, that whore in Revelation chapter 17. And it's also known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt, as pursuant to Revelation 11 verse 8. And when those 200 million nuclear missiles hit the daughter of Babylon, it's going to be turned into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards that's going to stand as an eternal memorial as to what a wicked kingdom looked like and how not to govern the earth, and what the judgment and punishment was for afflicting the apple of the Most High's eye, the true children of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in the United States of America today. Now I'm going to jump up to verse 40. "As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof." And how was ancient Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed? With fire and brimstone from the sky. And like I just said, besides being known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, the United States of America is also known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt. And the Most High is going to overthrow this modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah with modern fire and brimstone, those nuclear missiles. "Saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein." After this place is hit with those nuclear missiles, it's going to be that uninhabitable wasteland where man, woman, or child will never set foot on ever again. And after a time, only desert creatures will dwell here, as it says up in verse 39. "Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein. And it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation." And we're living in the times of these prophecies come to their fulfillment, the last seconds of the last days of the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly of these Edomites or so-called white people, before Yahawashi Hamashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, makes his second coming to save his elect and put an end to the rulership of these Edomites and set up the kingdom of heaven where the children of Israel will rule for eternity. And nothing will happen to avert these prophecies, nuclear destruction, World War III, from coming to its fulfillment, as it says in Isaiah 55 verse 11, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please." Now let's get into a little bit of this article, showing that we truly are living in these great biblical times. 59 years after the Cuban Missile Crisis, a new source of tension threatens to bring the United States and Russia, the daughter of Babylon and that North country, to the brink of war. But instead of John F. Kennedy, we have Joe Biden and his hapless minions in the White House. I wouldn't trust Biden and his national security team to navigate us through a pancake crisis at the local Waffle House. And so, I am definitely not optimistic that they will be able to handle the crisis in Ukraine. Unfortunately, at this point, there isn't much wisdom in the halls of Congress either. For example, on Tuesday, U.S. Senator Roger Wicker went on television and told Fox News viewers that a nuclear first strike against the Russians should be an option that the Biden administration should keep open. Senator Roger Wicker told Neil Cavuto on Tuesday that the United States should keep all options available when dealing with potential Russian aggression against Ukraine. That even includes a first-use nuclear strike against it. That will definitely calm nerves in Moscow. I can't believe that any member of Congress would be so reckless. Relations with Russia are now the most tense that they have been since the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's all through the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai to bring forth biblical prophecy. And Wicker is talking about sending our military vessels into the Black Sea and raining destruction on Russian military capabilities. Well, military action could mean that we stand off with our ships in the Black Sea and we rain destruction on the Russian military capability, the senator said. It could mean that we participate. And I would not rule that out. I would not rule out American troops on the ground. Is he insane? He's a puppet of the Most High. Because any rational U.S. senator would not speak like that. But what was even worse was when Wicker started talking about first-use nuclear action. He added that as a matter of policy in the U.S., we don't rule out first-use nuclear action. We don't think it will happen, but there's certain things in negotiations, if you're going to be tough, that you don't take off the table. And so I think the president should say that everything is on the table. This is the kind of talk that can start war. And when the time comes, I guarantee you that Russia will not hesitate to pull the trigger on a first strike if they believe that we are about to launch one. As we just read in Jeremiah chapter 50, that North country and those many kings from the ends of the earth coming with that lance and bow cruelly against the daughter of Babylon. So we should be doing all that we can to bring down emotions, which is futile. It's biblical prophecy for World War III to take place, go nuclear, and the United States of America to be utterly wiped off the face of the earth. So with this article, get back to some precepts. This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. One woe or destruction is past, speaking of World War I, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, World War II, which is past, and World War III, which is yet to come, but it's coming quickly, and it's going to go nuclear, and the two main combatants are going to be the United States of America and Russia. This is Joel chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 1 to 6. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. And it is very nigh at hand, and we can clearly see it with titles and articles such as this, with Washington talking about a first strike policy against Russia, that there's been such an uptick in talk of a possible nuclear conflict in the mainstream media. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. There had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. And that great people and a strong is speaking of the nuclear weapons. And where it says there had not been ever the like, that's talking about how they came about very recently, beginning with those 2 atomic bombs dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima during that second World War II, back in 1945. And where it says, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. When these nations shoot their nuclear missiles, every single one is going to be fired. And then after the dust settles, Yahushai Hamashiach, with those 144,000 spiritual Superman hunters, are going to begin enslaving you heathen nations, and we're never going to let you build weapons of war anymore. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The nuclear warhead at the front of the missile, and that flame that burneth behind them is the rocket booster on the back of the missile. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. The land looks normal. You've got cities and forests, peoples, animals, life going about as usual. And behind them, a desolate wilderness. After that nuclear destruction, the land becomes a desolate wasteland. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them, especially in the daughter of Babylon. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their faces the people shall be much pained, all faces shall gather blackness, or ash, or soot. These people getting that Sarah Connor treatment and getting burned up by these nuclear missiles. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. As you can clearly see, we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, mainly from the daughter of Babylon, the United States of America. So as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.